Osamu Tezuka is the grandfather of Japanese anime and manga, responsible for the original comic book of Astro Boy, and subsequently for the animated TV show. I've talked before on this podcast about his magnum opus, Phoenix, in relation to Hoa. One work of his, which is famous in Japan but less so in the West, is Jungle Emperor Leo, once translated in the West as Kimba the White Lion. It stars an adorable but brave lion cub with big round ears, who must grow up to become emperor of the animals. The main reason folks outside Japan might remember Kimba today is the controversy with The Lion King. That film has a similar premise, which isn't particularly surprising, but also recreates countless moments, characters, bits of imagery, and even whole plots and scenes from Tezuka's Lion story. The jury is still out on whether what began as a deliberate remake was adapted into a separate movie, or animation-obsessed artists noticed the similarity and snuck in one too many references, or if the Disney bigwigs just up and stole the whole movie and got away with it. We'll probably never know the full story. But then again, if we start to cancel every American movie which ripped off Japanese cinema, we wouldn't have The Matrix, Star Wars, or the entire Western genre. I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Shinx. There is some debate as to what animal Shinx is based on. The imagery of the little cub evolving into the big leader of the pack is certainly associated with lions in popular culture, and the distinctive round ears feel like a deliberate tribute to Tezuka's lions. The starlight connection brings to mind the Leo constellation. However, there is also a lynx constellation, and other aspects of this family's design are far more like a lynx than a lion, like the X-ray vision, the smaller mane, some of the names, and the fact that Lynxes actually used to live in the Hokkaido region that Sinnoh is based on. Then there's one Japanese name that comes from tiger. Like many Pokemon, I don't think this family directly correlates to a real-world animal, but takes inspiration from lions, lynxes, and the mythology which surrounds both. And tigers, I guess, though it isn't really anything like a tiger. Shinx is an adorable little cub of a big cat. It has big circular ears and a long tail with a fluffy end shaped like a twinkling star. It has some adorable tufts of hair, with a blue front half and black back half. Pokemon Diamond tells us, all of its fur dazzles if danger is sensed. It flees while the foe is momentarily blinded. Shinx is an electric-type Pokemon, convenient to catch early on in a Sinnoh playthrough, particularly if one chose Chimchar and needs a way to deal with those pesky water and flying types. A cursory glance at Shinx, and particularly its evolutions, which have even more black fur, has led some to lament that it doesn't gain a secondary dark type. That wouldn't really make sense, however, as one of this family's main motifs is light. The tail and ears of Shinx are stars, and the Pokédex often describes it using its electricity to light up. Pokemon Pearl tells us, its forelegs have a muscle-based system of generating electricity. Its body shines if endangered. And Platinum expands, telling us, the extension and contraction of its muscles generates electricity. It glows when in trouble. Pokemon Shield tells us, electricity makes this Pokemon's fur glow. Shinx sends signals to others of its kind by shaking the tip of its tail while the tail tip is shining brightly. The name Shinx takes shine and combines it with lynx, or perhaps with sphinx, as that mythical creature is a lion with a front that doesn't match its back. The Japanese name is Kolink, combining ko, or child, with blink, as in a blinking light, or again perhaps with lynx or sphinx. It isn't a child for long though. At level 15, Shinx evolves into Luxio. Luxio is a little bigger and a little meaner looking than Shinx. Shaggy black fur in the shape of a star is beginning to cover its head, and the one golden ring on each of Shinx's legs has been upped to 2. Pokemon Platinum tells us, strong electricity courses through the tips of its sharp claws. A light scratch causes fainting in foes. Like a lion, Luxio is a pack animal, and most of the Pokédex entries reflect this. Pearl tells us, it rests its forelegs on others to communicate, with rhythmic electric pulses from its claws. And Heart Gold and Soul Silver tell us, by gathering their tails together, they collectively generate powerful electricity from their claws. And finally, Pokemon Legends Arceus tells us, proudly uses its electrified claws as weapons. It seems to be a gracious Pokemon, evenly sharing the spoils of the hunt with others of its kind. While more of Luxio's fur is turning black than Shinx, this also means the points of yellow light on its body are more pronounced. This gives the impression overall of stars in the night sky. Interestingly, both lions and lynxes have constellations named after them, and this also may be another reference to Jungle Emperor, as the mother of Kimber the White Lion appears to him after her death in the form of a constellation. And in another move which the Lion King seems to have duplicated, Kimber's father also appears, this time in the clouds. The name Luxio is the same in Japanese and English. Lux is the Latin for light, and this is combined with Leo, as in lion. At level 30, the night sky is at its darkest and the stars shine brightest, when Luxio evolves into Luxray. Luxray is an adult big cat, with a menacing yet lithe physique, a decent mane, which is bigger on the male, as with real lions and lynxes, and a mostly black coat of fur. There are now 3 stripes on the leg. The real-world lynx has golden yellow eyes, and this Pokemon family has always been the same. The name Lynx even comes from the Greek word for light, owing to the brightly reflective eyes. In various mythologies, which all evolved from the Proto-Indo-European culture, these bright eyes and the animal's nocturnal hunting prowess combine to give it a supernatural ability to see through solid objects. This is replicated in the Pokédex entries for Luxray. Pokemon Diamond tell us, it has eyes which can see through anything. It spots and captures prey hiding behind objects. Pokemon Pearl tells us, when its eyes gleam gold, it can spot hiding prey, even those taking shelter behind a wall. Platinum tells us, it can see clearly through walls to track down its prey and seek its lost young. Pokemon Shield tells us, seeing through solid objects uses up a lot of Luxray's electricity, so the Pokemon sleeps for long periods of time to store up energy. And lastly, Legends Arceus tells us, they form packs, each having one male as a leader. Legends say that when Luxray's 2 eyes shimmer with gold, the Pokemon can see through anything. This pack behavior is very much something a lion does but a lynx doesn't, while seeing through walls is something that lynxes can do in mythology but not lions. This ability to see the truth inspired the name of the Academy of Lynxes, an early scientific order of which Galileo was a member, and is one of the reasons the Lynx constellation is so named, being so faint only those with the eyes of a lynx can see it. This X-ray vision ability is the reason for Luxray's name, combining Lux with X-ray. The Japanese name is Rentora, combining Rontgen, the discoverer of X-rays, with Tora, the Japanese for tiger. I guess the 3 stripes on the leg are kind of tiger-like? I saw them more like rankings, with it evolving with Shinx's 1, Luxio's 2, and then Luxray's 3, like the chevrons on a general or something. Even if Luxray isn't very much like a tiger, it has a lot going for it. Being a fairly handy Pokemon, which evolves from something available pretty early in the game, Luxray found its way onto a lot of players' teams during their journey through the Sinnoh region. Its mediocre speed and its combination of physical attack and the electric type mean it isn't actually very useful for competitive play, but it has definitely torn through countless Elite Fours. Paying homage to a genuine classic of Japanese anime, drawing inspiration from multiple real-world species of big cat, and touching on the mythology associated with them, all tied perfectly into an overall concept of stars in the night sky. is a beautiful Pokemon family. It never should have been Dark-type, but if Pokemon ever does introduce a Light-type, Luxray should be at the front of the queue. Actually, maybe it should have been a Fairy-type. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon was composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, and funding is provided by you lovely listeners on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius to find links to the other shows I make. And if you want, please throw $1 a month our way to help keep things online, and to listen to shows early. I love hearing from you guys about why you love these Pokemon too. Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN about our next two monsters, Cranidos and then Shieldon, or about any Pokemon you want to share your love for. We're also barely a month away from the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, so get ready for some episodes on the Pokemon of the Paldeo region, and maybe some streams, if I can sort out my computer situation. Even if you don't feel like doing any of what I just said, thank you so much just for listening. I love Shinx, and remember, I love you too.